Joining me now is Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. Senator, we're watching these results come in very close at this moment in Pennsylvania. Your reaction to the angle, specifically putting the petty squabbles of the primaries behind us and moving forward to win in November?
I would just say, Laura, that I think you've got it right. And to all of those in the Republican Party, when it comes to the squabbles who have tried to gin up some kind of a war between the Trump or populist wing of the party and the establishment Republicans, it's time to admit defeat on that. The voters in the Republican primaries have made very clear what they want. They want an agenda that is focused on their needs. There is no war in the Republican Party. The Republican voters have made it very clear, and now it's time to unite behind that populist agenda and drive it to victory in November.
Well, meanwhile, we do have a bit of a twist with Mitch McConnell, who has come out and has used the I word, and it's not Ingraham, but it is isolationist, Senator Hawley, when he was describing where, I guess, you and others, obviously people like myself and Tucker perhaps at Fox, they don't want to send billions and billions to Ukraine. So is the isolationist label fair or a good idea?
I would say that what I describe myself as, Laura, and I think where the American people are, is we're nationalists. And my concern with the Ukraine aid package, $40 billion to Ukraine, is that it's not national security, it's nation building. I mean, this is right back to the failed policy in Afghanistan and Iraq, where we are literally funding the Ukrainian government. This aid package would write a check for $9 billion directly to the Ukrainian government. That's in addition to all of the other money. So listen, I'm not for nation building. I'm for putting the national security of the American people first. That's nationalism. That's the best tradition of the Republican Party, and it's time we got back to it.
And it seems like that really is the message from these primaries, too, at least so far, that people are focused home. They're focused on their families, gas prices, food prices, the border, crime, want the best for Ukraine, but we're out of dough. I mean, I said we're broke, we're woke, and we're becoming a joke. I mean, it rhymes, but it also sadly happens to be true.
Well, the thing about the Ukraine aid package, when you're talking about $40 billion, is you could build the border wall twice over, Laura, with that money. And it's time that we got serious about these pressing priorities. And by the way, we've got other pressing priorities abroad as well, like China, for instance, which is a massive national security threat. So the time has come to be realistic here and to put the national security interests of the American people first. And that means securing our borders. That means taking care of the crime wave here in this country, and it means getting tough on China.
Well, the Trump tariffs on China are a really big deal. That took a lot of work on his part. Bob Lighthizer, the U.S. trade rep, who endorsed Dave McCormick, I might add, along with Mike Pompeo in the Pennsylvania race. I think Lighthizer knows a lot about who's the real populist, perhaps, in this race, but it's too close. We don't know what's going to happen. But on this front on China, all the people who want to focus on Ukraine, where's the focus on the biggest threat to the United States, which is the CCP? You never hear them talk about that as much.
That's absolutely right. And this is not the time, can I just say, to go soft on China and repeal those China tariffs, which is what the Biden administration is doing. You've got the president out there saying, oh, yeah, we're looking at rolling back these tariffs. Unfortunately, some Republicans want to go along with that. Don't do it. This is not the time.
It's a disaster.
We need to protect our industry. The total disaster, the total wrong move. We should be screwing down the restrictions on China. We should be getting tougher on China. We should be building up our own industry and bringing those jobs back to this country.
I mean, I know the baby formula thing, it doesn't really have anything to do with China, but it just brings the point home, hammers it home. We have to make essential elements to our daily lives, here. We have to make more stuff here. And, I know the free traders are like, oh, it's free trade. But we're seeing what's happening. As a result, we're seeing shortages, cars, everything that we can't get here now, parts, for cars. We got to, that playing field has to be leveled.
And one of the best ways to bring down inflation, Laura, is to bring back those supply chains so that we're not dependent on overseas supply chains. And in particular, we're not dependent on China. Why in the world would we want our critical goods, our critical manufacturing, our critical drugs and other devices to be made in China? It's absolutely insane. And so this is the kind of nationalist foreign policy we need, something that's going to focus on building up the United States, that's going to get tough on our enemies and our opponents, and is going to put national security of the American people first.
Yeah, peace through strength. We have to have our strength renewed here in the United States. Senator, thank you so much.